This is Music History Top 10 today for November 9th. My name is Cleon. On this date in 1955, the Everly Brothers recorded their first studio songs. In 1958, Elvis's Hound Dog became the first rock song and only the third song in recorded history to sell over 3 million copies. Right after Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer and White Christmas from Bing Crosby. In 1959, RCA guaranteed Sam Cooke $100,000, which was an awful lot of money back in 1959, if he would sign with them and leave his old record label, Keane Records. He took the money and recorded a bunch of songs with RCA, which made the bulk of his musical career. In 1961, Brian Epstein went to a place called the Cavern Club during lunchtime to hear a performance by a group that he had vaguely heard about. That group was the Beatles. He soon after signed on as their manager, and music history was made. In 1963, everybody's favorite song that no one still to this day knows the words to, Louie Louie by the Kingsmen, was released. In 1967, David Crosby was kicked out of the rock band The Byrds. Soon after that, he formed Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young. In 1967 as well, John Lennon fatefully meets Yoko Ono at one of her art shows at an art gallery in London. Also on this date in 1971, in fateful meetings, Carly Simon went to a James Taylor concert at Carnegie Hall, and the two met and fell madly in love, which led to a big musical pairing from the 1970s. In 1990, the IRS went after Willie Nelson for back taxes of $16 million, which took him a very long time in order to pay off. And in 1999, the Recording Industry Association of America awarded the Beatles as the best-selling artist of the 20th century. Garth Brooks was the best-selling male artist of the 20th century. Barbra Streisand was the best-selling female artist. The best-selling album at that time was the Eagles' Greatest Hits, and the best-selling song of the 20th century was Elton John's Candle in the Wind, his Princess Diana tribute after her unfortunate death back in the mid-90s. Now, if you're wondering how the Eagles were the biggest selling album, this was the biggest selling album of the 20th century. Michael Jackson's Thriller is officially the biggest selling album of all time. He overtook that, unfortunately, after his untimely death about 7 years ago by now. Therefore, Thriller is still the biggest selling album of all time, but up until the end of the 20th century, it was actually the Eagles' Greatest Hits. Celebrating birthdays this day, Joe C., Kid Rock's little sidekick. Mary Travers from Peter, Paul and Mary. Tom Fogerty from Creedence Clearwater Revival. Benny Mardones, who I think still has the record as having 3 different hits from the exact same song on 3 different albums, which is very confusing, but he released it 3 times. It's his birthday today, of which I'm sure he will probably release Into the Night again on another album. Also say happy birthday to Sandra Denton. You know her better as Peppa from Salt and Peppa. It's also rapper Scarface's birthday. It's also Cisco's birthday with that dong, da dong, dong, dong. Also Nick Lachey's birthday. And it's Dorothy Dandridge's birthday. And that is Music History Top 10 today for November 9th.